Good afternoon. This is the time for the Legal and Finance Committee meeting for the City of Rapid City, July 16, 2025. We'll begin with a roll call and determination of quorum.
Evans.
Here.
Lehman.
Here.
Meyer. Here. Seacrest. Here. Stroman.
Here.
We have a quorum.
So we passed our first test with the new committee, but welcome everybody that wasn't on this committee last year. Next item is adoption of the agenda.
Move to approve.
There's a motion to approve by Evans and a second by Lehman. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next is general public comment. This is a time for members of the public to discuss or express concerns to the council or the committee on any issue not on the agenda. Action will not be taken at the meeting on any issue not on the agenda, except by placement on the agenda by unanimous vote of the council members present. I have no speaker request forms for general public comment, so I'm going to close general public comment. And we're going to move to consent items 1 through 13, and I'll open public comment on consent items 1 through 13. Again, having no speaker request forms, I'm going to close public comment on consent items 1 through 13, and then we'll proceed to the items on the agenda. And I guess the first thing is approval of the minutes from July 2, 2025. Motion by Seacrest, second by Evans to approve. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Next item is the mayor's office and I don't know if we have anybody here on that particular item, so we'll just move on to the finance office. And for consent items 3 through 10. And we'll go to Director Ainsley, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The first item simply includes 3 separate individuals that are volunteering. We include them on the minutes so that they are covered by our workers' compensation insurance coverage. And then the next item is simply asking the council to set December 23rd as a special council meeting. That's just to handle end-of-year business. Traditionally, that's usually just paying a few bills before the end of the fiscal year. There might be 1 or 2 extra items that get added on. I assure you, usually it's like a 5-minute meeting, so sorry about that, but we are requesting that. And then our May sales tax report, I'm happy to announce that in the 2% general sales tax, we were up 1.87%. For the year, we are trending right now 0.2% higher than budgeted. So that is good news. In the tourism, for May, we were down slightly. We were down just over 1%. The next item is we have 12 separate properties that have a variety of nuisances that were identified by code enforcement. And so that is levying the properties so that the taxpayers can recoup those expenses that were incurred when we were cleaning up those properties. Item number 8 is a resolution that includes the assessment for the Downtown Business Improvement District. We did send out notices to all the property owners that are within the Downtown Business Improvement District. We spoke with several different individuals that had questions, and that money is collected. And I think it's important that everyone understand that the money that is collected goes into a separate fund. The expenditures of those monies are directed by the Downtown Business Improvement District, and the district traditionally contracts with Main Street Square to perform a lot of activities at Main Street Square, as well as to do a lot of additional beautification efforts downtown, including flowers and the trash removal along the public rights of way, as well as snow removal along the sidewalk. The next item is just to acknowledge the malt beverage licenses that are eligible along with the video lottery. I believe that there are 2 that are currently inactive. And in addition to that, we have 3 licenses that can be available. If the council does a majority vote, we would be able to start issuing those as well. And then lastly, item number 10 is a very minor item, but it is for the Vision Fund. Just so that everyone is aware, What we are trying to do with that is not to change the allocation. I'm sorry, there is one minor change in the allocation. It's just over $4,000. The reason for that is the citizen committee projects totaled just over 12 million, and 12 million was allocated. It was 12,004,000 and some odd dollars. What we are recommending is that the additional 4,000 and some dollars be taken out of the comprehensive plan improvement allocation and be diverted to the citizen projects. That way you can truly fund all of the projects that the council voted to fund, I think, 2 meetings ago. In addition to that, I am recommending a change in the distribution of the annual distribution to those various different line items. The reason for that, we would allow the citizen committee projects to begin more rapidly. It will take us quite some time to, first of all, come up with a process to award projects for the comprehensive plan as well as the strategic growth fund projects. And it will take some time to design any of those projects. Meanwhile, we have these projects that the citizens brought forward that I think they would like to see happen sooner rather than later. And so this plan would allow those projects to all be funded within the next 2 years, so within 25 and 26. Are there any questions?
It looks like we're going to go to Councilman Bill Evans.
Yeah, I have a question concerning code enforcement. And I guess maybe this, the reason I'm asking this is because we're always really big on, removing junk from people's property. We seem to be big on getting sheds off of lot lines and stuff. And yet, don't we have an ordinance about parking your car in the middle of your lawn? I mean, do we or do we not have these in place? Because I get more comments from people about how dumpy the city looks over that than anything else. And I have to say, I travel to other communities of similar ilk. I don't see it. Do we have an ordinance or not?
Okay, we're going to go to Community Development Director Vicki Fisher for an answer to that question.
So there is a requirement that if you park in your front yard, it must be on a hard surface. So if you've got a driveway that expands out, you're allowed to park there. If someone is on their grass and it's within the first 50 feet of the lot line, that would not be permitted. If they're outside of their property, but in that boulevard area between the lot line and the right-of-way, that is not permitted. We also have regulations about parking in the right-of-way versus storage in the right-of-way. That, for the most part, is policed by the police department. Code enforcement has offered to assist with those in the right-of-way. It's kind of manifested itself to code enforcement taking primary on it. We address these issues. We have 3 code enforcement officers for the entire city. We address these issues daily on if we get a complaint or if we're driving by seeing that there's a violation, sticking that notice out to them. But what we see happening many times, and we can appreciate the comment, they'll remove the vehicle for a short period of time, and then when they think no one's looking, they put it right back.
Well, and that's the reason I ask, because we seem so obsessed with enforcing certain ordinances we have, and then we just let others ride. And most of the violations happen in the core area, and I live in that part of town. Everyone has an alley for the most part. Almost everybody that violates this rule could drive their car around and park in the alley. There's no reason why we have cars lining inside the sidewalk on 5th Street going to the hospital. It's embarrassing for people showing the town around to see this because they don't see it anywhere else. Now, what do we have to do to change the mindset so that this becomes a priority? I feel like stopping and putting a ticket on them myself. I don't think it would be too much for us to prioritize that and say anytime a police car goes by and sees this, they get a ticket. Anytime a code enforcement person goes by, they get a ticket. This would come to a screeching halt within a month, and we wouldn't have this problem anymore. Now, as far as parking on hard surfaces, as you know, there's that one property on St. Charles Street where they paved their entire front yard with concrete. None of the neighbors, you've seen it, right, Lindsay? Yeah. Anyhow, well, it's not that one. That's another one. But so now they're parking all of their work trucks in there. like a business. Now, we need to come up with some zoning regulations, some code things where if you're going to pave your front yard, you're going to pay for all that drainage that happens and runs off down into the storm sewer and overloads it. And I think it should be a huge fee, so people don't do that. A good neighbor wouldn't do that to the neighborhood. But some people don't care. We have another house up on Cruise Street that they asphalted their entire front yard over, and then they park a gigantic camper across the front of their house. I don't think these things should be allowed, but I can't enforce them. And if we don't have an ordinance, we need to enact one, and then we have to have the police and the code enforcement people enforce it. And that's, these little things slip. It's like vandalizing and spray painting, and if you don't cover it up soon enough, it becomes normalized. And in this town, parking on your front lawn has become normalized, and I want to see it go away. All right? That's comments. That's all. You don't have to comment anymore. You know where I'm thinking.
Anything else,
Hopefully
Vicki?
everybody thinks like I do, too.
So part of this is regulated through the nuisance ordinance, and our authority in the nuisance ordinance means that we have to notify the property owner. We have to give them a minimum amount of time to address it. If they don't, then in those instances, we can tow, and we do. And then the good news is that doesn't cost us anything, because the tow company will just keep that vehicle until the owner of the vehicle pays the tow bill. So that actually is, for us, a better solution. I understand your concern about those that are parking business vehicles in residential lots, and we do have strict regulations about that. You're allowed one commercial vehicle on a residential lot, and it's limited in size. So if you see those, let us know. Because we are limited in staff, but we do want to ensure that that imagery of our city is upheld when we have tourists and family and friends come. Code enforcement operates on a complaint basis, but they also police our arterial streets to try to do things like Fifth Street. And I noticed one on Fifth Street the other day too, and reached out to the officer in that area and said, get after him. That, along with tall grass along bus stops, not a good look for the city. So again, we encourage you to reach out to us when you see these things. But right now, we don't have the authority to just stick a ticket on it. We have to give them a notice, and then they have so many days to address it.
Okay, thank you.
Somewhere.
Okay, we're going to go to Lindsay Sechrist.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just had a comment on item number 10. I just wanted to say that I appreciate the city taking the Citizens Committee recommendations and front-loading those in the 2025, 26, 27 timeframe. I think that this is going to be really meaningful for the community, and the positive impacts that we're all going to see and feel as a result of these projects will be felt. And anyhow, I just wanted to say that, and we'll be approving that. So thank you.
Okay, any other items to be pulled out of the consent items? Ms. Meyer, did you want to address? Okay, we'll go to Kelly Meyer.
Yeah, I'd just like to pull item 8 off of consent, please. And I would just like to abstain from voting on it.
Did you want to pull it for separate consideration, or is that just all you wanted?
That's it.
Okay, thanks. Then we'll go to Lindsay Sechrist.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to pull 11, 12, and 13, please.
Okay, can I get a motion on items 2 through 7, and then 9 and 10?
I will move to approve everything except 8, 11, 12, and 13.
Okay, there's a motion by Evans and a second by Lehman to approve 2 through 7 and 9 and 10. Is that right?
Yep.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. And then, so we still have to look at 8. Does someone want to discuss that, or is that just Callie's abstention?
I move to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion by Sechrist and a second by Lehman to approve item 8. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next, we're going to get to item 11, which is Parks and Recreation. We'll go to Director Biegler first, and then we'll go to Councilwoman, or Doug Lowe, excuse me. Go to Doug for number 11.
Good afternoon. This is approved resolution amending the cemetery regulations, and I just want to go over a few things that changed on it. A lot of hard work by Kinsley Groot out of the attorney's office to help us get this all put together. There was some updated terminology. Another thing that was changed is there's now an online directory that's available through the city's website at rcgov.org. That's something new that was included in this. We also are asking that all the names inscribed on the memorial that corresponds with the deceased grave space shall be the same name as the person's death certificate. That's a change that they're asking to do. And they're also doing some size changes on the cremation section of the cemetery, where they're making the sections a little bit bigger for people, because they want to be able to see their loved one's name a little bit more predominant in those areas. So that's the 4 changes that I was told was happening. So
Okay, thank you, Doug. Next, we'll go to Lindsay Sechrist.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Mr. Lowe. I appreciate that. I had just pulled this item, seeing that there wasn't really a summary of what the changes were to this policy, and then the policy attached didn't have a red line or a working copy to see what had been updated. So I was mostly curious in that, and it was, I guess, for me, just interesting to read through and see all the regulations that go into managing a cemetery. So well done, but thank you.
There's a motion by Evans and a second by Sechrist to approve item number 11. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll go to item 12, Community Development. Authorize staff to purchase one 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee SUV. Price matching from the state of South Dakota, contract number 17614, to be used by Building Services. And we'll go to Director Fisher, because I think she has some further clarification on this.
This is a vehicle that's in our 2025 budget for replacement, and thank you, council, for supporting that. It's a vehicle that's used by our plumbing inspector, and while we have 2 inspectors in all other fields, electrical, mechanical, structural, we've got 2. We only have 1 plumbing inspector, so he's zinging and zanging throughout the community. His vehicle currently has about 200,000 miles on it, 17 years old. It's cost us to date over $16,000 in maintenance repair, and we've attached pictures. You can see the rust, and I don't think we got one of the duct tape, but it's one of those vehicles that's kind of embarrassing to have a city license plate on it. The good news is that the 2025 Jeep Cherokee that we're replacing this crew cab with will get much better gas mileage for all the miles that he's putting on, because that crew cab really eats the gas. I noticed in the agenda summary and had it amended, and you'll see it when the item comes forward at City Council, the total cost of the vehicle is, the new vehicle, $41,172.
Okay, we'll go to Lindsay Sechrist.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Director Fisher. I appreciate that. I pulled this item just because I wanted to emphasize, sometimes with our city staff, I think in the past we haven't understood why City Council hasn't been supportive of approving a vehicle request. And this item on the agenda is truly the definition of what good looks like, as far as the attachments, the summary, the explanation, the replacement purpose of this vehicle. And so I wanted to just recognize that this was exceptionally done. And if we had this type of explanation for all of our city divisions when they're brought forward, I think it's really helpful in just gaining our support and confidence from our level. And of course, we know that you're doing the best you can to be good stewards of our finances. But this vehicle in particular had just under 200,000 miles and was well loved. So I'm happy to see this one move forward, and thank you. Appreciate the time.
Motion approved by Sechrist and a second by Meyer. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Next is Human Resources. Authorize Mayor and Finance Director to sign broker services agreement with Brown and Brown Insurance Services, Inc. for insurance broker services from August 1, 2025 to January 1, 2027, the amount of $148,750. And we'll go to HR Director Amber Cornella, who is at the podium.
Yes,
Floor is
thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. This agenda item, as you mentioned, is to sign a broker services agreement. The city has not previously utilized a broker for managing our health insurance, our vision insurance, dental insurance, things of that nature. We didn't start out with that being the recommendation. We started off by looking at where we were as we were getting ready to do our renewals for the 2026 plan year and decided that it would be very proactive and a good use of time to do an RFP, a request for proposal. So we solicited proposals from health insurance vendors, dental insurance vendors, vision insurance vendors, and more, as well as brokers. We had a cross-functional subcommittee of employees on a group that evaluated all of these. All of them are members of the healthcare committee, but they came from different groups across the city. So Amanda Lee represented the police department, Steve McCullough represented fire, Courtney Horner Wood represented the AFSCME union, Lorinda Tapper from the library represented our non-union group, and Daniel Ainsley was there from a finance perspective. I was on the committee as well. In reviewing those, we collectively agreed that moving to broker services would be in the best interests of the city. A broker can add a lot of value. It's something that we have not had in the past, but it's somebody who has more negotiating power. So even if we keep our same insurance vendors, they are able to negotiate more broadly and get us better pricing and things like that. They can help with compliance and risk mitigation. And they can also just keep an eye out there as far as market data and help us make informed decisions. Overall, save us money by analyzing claims and doing some cost analysis with that. So we have interviewed brokers and come to the conclusion that we'd like to move forward with the contract with Brown and Brown. That contract, if approved, would be effective August 1st. We would jump right in with getting our vision, dental, and health insurance ready to go for open enrollment in the fall for January 1st, 2026 plan effective dates. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Amber. Any questions from the committee?
I move to approve, but I'd like to make a comment. Second?
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Evans and a second by Lehman, and we're going to return the floor to Bill Evans.
Do any of these brokers offer like some sort of a, warranty that they're going to save us money? And if they don't, we don't have to pay them as much?
There is not a particular term in this contract that says that, but the nice thing is it's a contract from August 1st, getting us prepared for January, and then we have that full next year to evaluate our claims and things like that, but there's no long term of the contract. So if at that point we didn't want to renew it, we wouldn't have to move forward. Or if we liked the concept but wanted to do an RFP for different brokers, we'd have that flexibility as well.
Well, I do think it's a really good idea that we do this because certain areas just require a lot of expertise. Other areas we're qualified to do it ourselves. Hopefully this will save us some money in the long run. Thank you.
Okay, then we'll go to Lindsay Sechrist.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to take a moment to thank our Director Amber here from HR for her work on this. From my perspective, when we were in discussions on this item, and she shared that the state of South Dakota utilizes a broker for managing their health insurance and navigating claims and understanding the terminology and the language that's used in this industry. Having worked for the state of South Dakota and having also worked for the city of Rapid City, I've always wondered why the state's health benefits have been so much better than what we're able to offer at the city level. And I'm just hopeful that this is going to make us more competitive. This is going to be a huge benefit to the employees that are utilizing our city insurance. I think this is absolutely a worthwhile investment and really appreciate your expertise and bringing this forward. So I think this is a great time for us to look into how we can optimize our benefits. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? The motion's on the floor to approve. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. That brings us to the end of the consent calendar. Now I'm going to non-consent items 14 through 16. Open public comment on non-consent items 14 through 16, and having no speaker request forms, I'm going to close public comment. Next item is item number 14, second reading and recommendation of ordinance number 6676, an ordinance amending the Rapid City Municipal Code to repeal Chapter 2.49 relating to the Community Investment Committee. And it looks like Mike's up there to... Oh, okay.
Second.
There's a motion to approve by Sechrist and a second by Lehman. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Next item is number 15, resolution number 2025-075, a resolution creating tax increment financing district Sunridge Senior Affordable Housing District.
Good afternoon, Mike Dugan with Finance. I just have a very brief presentation for you today regarding a new application for affordable housing for a senior affordable housing development. This came forward through Planning Commission last week, approved the creation or recommended the approval of the creation of the district to the City Council. They did not approve the recommendation to move the project plan forward. So there's going to be a revised project plan that will be on the agenda for the Planning Commission on August 21st. And for this, to make this project work, the developer is requesting the City of Rapid City handle the financing for the TIF loan portion. This is the proposed boundary of the district with the subject property, this vacant lot right here along the 300 block of North Street. The current zoning is a mixture of the medium density residential, general commercial, and there is some flood hazard in there as well. The components of this project, so the project would be for the construction of 38 apartment units on the 300 block of North Street. It would be for senior affordable housing, which the definition of senior affordable housing is 55 years of age plus. It would be for income qualifying tenants making 60% or less of AMI with corresponding rent at 30% of the tenant's income. The one-bedroom apartment would be $955 per month, and the two-bedroom would be $1,145 per month. The makeup would be 34 one-bedroom units with 4 two-bedroom units. And then there'll be the main entrance designed, the foyer, and equipped with a security access system for the units. The anticipated classification would be affordable housing district through the state classification, so it will not impose an additional school levy on all real property within the Rapid City area school limits. The parcels within the TIF boundary are anticipated an assessed valuation of a little over $15 million. The South Dakota Department of Revenue will certify that if this was to move forward. The project would be structured as a grant in the amount of $2,221,000. This does not include financing costs. The financing costs aren't included. The amortization schedule, the reason why I didn't move forward through Planning Commission is with the developer asking for the city to finance this request. It wasn't anticipated to pay off within 20 years, which would put the city at risk. The city would underwrite it if it was approved by Planning Commission and Council. The city would handle the financing. There would be underwritten like a bank would, just like the Canham Heights project. There'd be a business guarantor, and then all the members of the business entity would also be required to guarantee the request. But at the year 20, if there was a balance, the city would lose their primary source of repayment. The developer is proposing a guarantee to pay off this request, whatever balance is, to refinance it in year 18 into their primary debt. But there is still a risk if that doesn't, for whatever happen, any economic factors, the city could be at risk and may have to ask for help at year 20 from the guarantors. But so reworking that amortization schedule, it's still kind of in this initial stages, draft stages, to figure out how much that interest component request will be. The need for TIF, this project wouldn't be able to move forward without the use of TIF. The reason being their primary debt, the debt load on this property would have to increase, and which would take it out of the affordable housing classification and move it into the local, which would be a tax burden on the residents. It would no longer be affordable, so they would lose their LIHTC funding and funds through the state, which does not make this project feasible. Rents would nearly double with the increase of that primary debt load of not being able to use as TIF as a source of funding. Just some quick pictures of the subject property. This is a difficult lot. You can't really see from this picture, but there is a large drop off on this lot. So this lot has sat undeveloped for a very, very, very long time. Another picture of this property, as you can see where the weeds and the taller grass grow, there's a large slope to this lot. This would be looking out from the subject property towards Fish Street, and this would be looking towards East Boulevard. Just some renderings potentially of what this property would look like. And then I do also want to note that this applicant is the same applicant for the Sagebrush Flats Affordable Housing TIF number 90. This was also an affordable housing project that was 180 apartment units targeting rents at 60% AMI or lower. This has recently been certified by the city. The construction is complete and they are now leasing this project out. There's some renderings of this completed, or not renderings, this is actual pictures of the completed project of the TIF number 90. The active TIF districts, the final slide here, there are, with the approval of the creation of the Rapid City Destination District and the Rapid City Catalyst District, there are 20 active TIF districts composed of 12 economic, 1 industrial, 2 affordable housing, and 5 local projects. So if this was to move forward, that would raise our tax valuation up to 2.21%. Once again, we're allowed by the state statute a max of 10% of our total valuation is allowable. So that would mean we'd have an additional 800 million plus would be available based on the certified assessed value. So there's plenty of room to grow if the project came forward that were approved by the Planning Commission and the City Council. So with that, the applicant is in the audience today and would be more than happy to answer any questions or concerns anybody may have, and I will stand for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Dugan. We'll go to Lindsay Sechrist.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mike, for that presentation. My first question, I guess, would be for you, if I may. What happens if the TIF district is approved today and it's created and established, but we're not able to approve a project plan for this particular project?
Right. So if this was to be approved by council next week and moves forward, but the project plan either doesn't make it to council or if through Planning Commission or City Council was to deny it at that level, the TIF another resolution would come forward in the near future from there to dissolve the district.
Okay, thank you. My second question is for you as well, I suppose. What is the feasibility of the project plan actually moving forward with financing that pencils out that isn't funded from the City of Rapid City?
It wouldn't be able to move forward. The reason being is the rate. The rate would probably have to come down from the 5% that's proposed for it to pencil out over 20 years. The Cannon Heights Affordable Housing Project, that's TIF 91, that was a city finance project. There was a lot of the same components, the 60% AMI, I believe 51 of those units were dedicated, of those 252 were dedicated to senior living. So there is precedent at that rate, but it's highly unlikely, if the city wasn't to finance that the applicant could find outside funding at those rate and terms.
Okay, thank you. My last question is regarding Section 8. What does the 60% AMI lend to the ability for Section 8 housing vouchers, or is that 50% AMI?
If I may invite the applicant to.
Sure,
to
thank
answer
you.
that question.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here and speak. I will get to your question. My name is Jason Bowl with Blue Line Development. Blue Line is an affordable housing developer. We're based out of Missoula, Montana. We're proud to say that we've developed over 3,500 affordable housing units across 8 different states, including 2 projects here in Rapid City, Discovery Village Apartments, located off of East Anamosa Street, is 36 units serving families earning 30% AMI to 60% AMI. And as Mike mentioned, most recently, Sagebrush Flats, 180 units serving families earning 60% AMI or less. The TID district that is in front of you today is going to be supporting Sunridge Apartments. It's 38 units serving families or serving seniors earning 60% of AMI or less. And to give you an idea, and this is to your question, the families can qualify for up to $41,000 a year for a single household. So we can accept housing vouchers. It kind of depends on their current income level and the structure of that voucher, because different vouchers have to pay a certain amount of their rent towards of their income towards rent. So there is a narrow margin, but we can accept vouchers. 3-bedroom units are a little bit harder, but for this particular project, we will be accepting housing choice vouchers, VA vouchers. We have experience with all of those. If I may go into the financing a little bit, this project has been committed. The South Dakota Housing Development Authority has committed $512,000 in annual tax credits for this project. What that equates to is a $4.2 million roughly investment into Rapid City. We also have a $700,000 commitment for home financing through the state agency as well. And the last piece of our financing stack is our TIF. So as Mike mentioned, we've identified approximately $2.2 million in TIF eligible costs, and that's reflected in our proposal. The original plan, we had represented that the TIF would pay off. I think we were using a different inflationary factor, but with our new plan, it will definitely pay off prior to that 20-year statutory period. Blue Line is also willing to provide a corporate guarantee to ensure that will be fully repaid. And I think Mike had mentioned that the mechanism for that is a refinance of our primary debt. And we've run the residual value calculations to ensure that our project can support any residual debt, and that would definitely pass the debt test. I'd like to talk a little bit about the TIF statutory requirements and how this project meets those, but I'll just talk about the most important ones. All of them are listed within our plan. This is an affordable housing development for seniors earning 60% AMI or less. 100%, all of the units in this project will be affordable and maintain those affordability levels for at least 40 years. This is an infill site. This project, or this site has been sitting vacant for, I think, forever. It's the greatest and best use of the site. It's in close proximity to public transportation, amenities targeted towards seniors, and in close proximity to, all the amenities that downtown has to offer. And the most important one, I think, is this project will not be feasible without the use of TIF financing. We have all of our financial commitments already completed, and we're hopeful that the TIF can go through. Affordable housing has been a top priority for the city for a number of years now. I know that we've made a dent, but there's still a huge need, especially for seniors in the Rapid City community. Thank you again for your time. I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
Yes, thank you. I've read the project plan, so I'm
Okay,
very familiar
great.
with
Thank
your project and all the rationale behind it. I was asking the Section 8 question just because the affordability to me is questionable for the $955 single bedroom, 600 square foot, and then $1,000 some dollars for a double bedroom.
Yeah, and I don't have the figures off the top of my head on what those voucher requirements are for Section 8. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Thank you. My questions are done. I just wanted to make a comment on this. The more I've learned as far as the city self-financing TIFs and the outside consultants I've spoke to that understand TIFs and represent communities that are in this industry, do not support the city funding a developer TIF or self-funding a developer TIF project. So in this case, I don't think I can support the city coming in and lending the funds to Blue Line. I understand that you're a reputable company. You've had other successful projects, and I believe you have a lot of creative funding mechanisms at play here. But I think just as from my own perspective, that's going to be a hard line that I'm just going to follow from here on out. I didn't understand that prior to, but the risk for the city is, and protecting the city's assets is what I feel is my job. So that's where I stand at this. And if we're not going to be able to get to a funding mechanism that would support this project, I don't know where we go from there. So thank you.
Daniel, are you in or out? Okay. Oh, go to Bill Evans.
Hello, there it is. Thank you. I agree with a lot of what Ms. Seacrest just said. I do appreciate that this really fulfills one of the main criteria that we have for using tax increment districts, and that is building urban density and infill and all these good goals that we have as a council now. I am slightly concerned about the city doing the financing, but I think we'll ask Mr. Ainsley to address that and see how it benefits the city. And if you want to make a comment now, he'll let you.
Thank you,
Sure,
Mr.
go
Chair.
ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the city to provide financing, the city's limited in the number of projects it can provide financing for. As we've described throughout quite some time, the total amount of internal city loans that we would look at really doesn't exceed about 20% of our current assets. That would leave about 80% of the city's current assets either in treasury bills or CDs or cash itself. So it's a fairly low amount that we would invest on some of these longer term commitments that are like this. And so in doing that, we want to ensure that it's projects that really either, number one, have a significant return on the investment for the taxpayers, or number two, projects that fit a very significant need. Right now, Rapid City does not have a lot of programs to assist in affordable housing other than our CDBG. That's really the only funding source that we have to try to assist affordable housing. And knowing that affordable housing is one of the highest needs that we hear from residents. That has been one reason why we have looked at the city providing below market rate interest rates for affordable housing projects. And again, we're being upfront that that's lower than what a bank would offer a project like this, but that's necessary because it's gap financing to allow these sorts of projects to actually proceed. So even at a 3.5% interest rate, although we were hoping for a 5%, but even at a 3.5%, I do want to note that that's historically compared to what the city has received in the past. If you look just 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, the city on average was receiving less than 1% interest rate on the city's current assets. So even at a 3.5% return, you're doing substantially higher than what we've done in the past. Admittedly, last year our total return was higher, but this is a very small loan, and it also would be for a project that would be bringing significantly subsidized affordable housing for seniors, which is why it's been brought forward.
Thank you. I think that makes a lot of sense to get most value for our money. One of my concerns about some of our recent TIFs has been the fact that they show up with the word grant written in there. And I've supported almost every TIF that's come along for the last 6 years because I see them as sort of a vehicle for acting as the infrastructure fund we've never had in this city, and kind of accomplishing the same thing in that we're using money to get the streets and the sewers and everything built. Now it's changing a little bit, and it's a little bit scary. And we're getting to the area where the citizens start to really, really complain. They see us giving away, well, it's not necessarily their tax dollars, but it's their tax dollars that we don't have yet. And so it's a little bit concerning. I'll probably support this, but I do it with trepidation, and we need to start thinking about this use of granting anybody, even if it's for the right cause, free money. That's my concern. And I'm curious, what is the occupancy rate right now? And because we did a TIF for is it the Sagebrush Flats, the one there by the fairgrounds? What do we have for it opened, 6-9 months ago, something like that? How long has it been open? What's the occupancy rate now?
We haven't opened, I think it was about 5 months ago is when we received our certificate of occupancy. We've received, I think, over 400 applications thus far. The approval for tax credit developments, it's pretty arduous for tenants to income qualify, go through their assets. We have 3 levels of scrutiny for the applicant, so there's a lot of back and forth. I believe we have over 50 units currently occupied, and then we have probably 80 applications in process right now, and then about, I think, the remainder of the applications have been over income. We're continuously getting more foot traffic in the on a daily basis. So I was just over there today, and there was a number of people that were picking up applications. So I believe over the next 3 to 4 months, we should be fully leased up on that.
Well, a couple more comments. Thank you.
Sure.
We have a couple of very, very competent modular home companies around here, and I think in the future we need to start exploring the possibility of really getting the construction costs down, like Ms. Seacrest proclaimed. $900 some a month for a 600 square feet is not particularly affordable if you have very little money and you're living hand to mouth. So we need to start exploring some of these options and maybe working in ways to creatively really bring the construction costs down, so that when we approve an affordable thing, even if it requires less creativity on the part of using a different design all the time, because they end up being rubber stamped so often anyhow, although this is a particularly attractive one, and maybe co-op in that way, so that when we approve these TIFs, we're really, really getting value and bang for the buck. And another thing we might, a lot of these communities where housing prices have gotten out of control and truly not affordable for the person using a starting salary in the 40,000s, and they have a family. Take, for instance, the city of Aspen. And their teachers can't afford to live there. And so they've started buying, housing in other communities and busing them in and out and everything. And perhaps we need to also explore co-opting with the school district and stuff and come up with creative things so we expand our ability to attract these young professionals into the teaching profession and offering some kind of housing perk as well, so they're eligible for some of these benefits that we offer to people. But some of these people haven't invested, a lot of money getting a master's degree in chemistry or whatever to come teach, but then they can't afford to come here and teach, so they end up going someplace else. So we need to be a lot more creative in the future and start exploring some of these options. So,
Okay, I
thank
think
you.
we've had enough discussion on this. I'm going to call for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion by Lehman to approve and a second by Meyer. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 3-1. Next, we'll go to community development. Item 16, introduction and first reading of ordinance number 6677, an ordinance amending the set for hearing requirement in section 16.08.120 of the Rapid City Municipal Code, and we'll go to Director Fisher.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You may recall in some of your recent city council meetings, there's been some confusion where you have an item on the agenda and it says set for hearing. Do you approve it? Do you deny it? Are you just acknowledging it? And so we looked at those instances when we're doing that to determine whether by state law or city ordinance, we're actually required to. And one of those particular items is a vacation of right-of-way item. And we found that while state law does require that it be published twice, it does not need to be set for hearing and then be heard at the subsequent city council meeting. So with that being said, and in alignment with what state regulations require, we are proposing to amend Chapter 16, our subdivision regulations, that would remove the requirement to set for hearing a vacation of right-of-way or section line highway application. We'll still publish twice, but you'll only see it once on your agenda. And it'll go before Planning Commission, it'll be on Legal and Finance Committee, and then on City Council, so that the community and the council will know that it's coming before you see it. We would recommend that you support us and amend the ordinance accordingly.
There's a motion approved by Seacrest and a second by Lehman. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Lehman, second by Evans. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned.
I was finishing up there.
I can never tell, Bill, if you're actually finishing up.
You go on
2
ad
more points.
nauseum for a lot of time.